Hello YouTube, Mortician Man 24, aka Eugene Johnson here. Don't know really what to do, so I just figured I'd make a quick vlog, and don't have an update really, just sitting here bored and did some YouTube surfing, I guess you'd say. And something really got on my nerves tonight. It appears, from what I've been hearing, and I looked it up on YouTube, but there's really nothing much about it. I read on the website earlier that Stephanie Meyer was going to try to write some more books to recapture the Twilight spark, or sparkle, should I say. Well, the thing is if you guys know me at all and are subscribed to my channel and watch my videos, you guys know I do book reviews and, show you what kind of books that I read and that I'm into. And just wanted to talk a little bit about Stephanie Meyer as an author or a writer, whatever you want to call her. So anyway, somebody has put her on the same wavelength as Stephen King. That's a big, huge no-no, in my opinion. Little bit of a backstory about how I got into books and stories. Kind of old. I'll be 30 in October, so I was about 10 or 11 years old when I really started to devour books one at a time. And what I started with was R.L. Stine's Goosebumps. And if you grew up in my generation and you watched Nickelodeon, like Are You Afraid of the Dark and all those old classic TV series, then you know what Goosebumps is. Well, anyway, the next year I was about 12 or 13, and I went in Walmart, and, excuse me guys on the angle of this camera, I'm kind of laying down on my side because I don't feel too good today. But, I went into Walmart, and they had a bunch of Stephen King novels for, paperbacks for like $5. And as I was going through these paperbacks, I stumbled upon Christine. And I owned the movie at the time. I just did not, didn't pay attention to the credits and stuff at that age, and didn't know that there was actually a book based on the movie. So I paid $5 for this book, took it home, and as soon as I started reading it, I was like, oh my God, what have I been missing? Needless to say, shortly after that, I was going to swap meets and flea markets and places like that, and, finding Stephen King books for 50 cents to a buck and picking up everything I could. I got Salem's Lot, Skeleton Crew, The Shining, Firestarter, and Cujo. I think Cujo was my second Stephen King novel that I read. Another good book. But anyway, what's really bugging me is that people are putting her in the same genre as Stephen King. And I'm going to be blunt here. A lot of people may get mad at me. Well, a lot of my YouTube subscribers won't, because I'm sure they agree with me 100%, because a lot of the YouTube subscribers are metalheads and, horror movie fans and stuff like that. Stephanie Meyer wouldn't even make great mud on Stephen King's shoe, if I can put it that way. The man has written books for well over 30 years and has many awards and has amazing New York Times bestseller list. Stephenie Meyer, you've sold 40 million books from the last time I checked. Stephen King has sold 350 million books worldwide. If you want to compare yourself to him, go sit down in a corner somewhere and think about how to make your characters actually believable, how to make your characters not so self-centered, how to make your characters not sexist at all. And you could ease up on the statutory rape deal. That would be amazing. You've written 5 books. Stephen King has got a longer list than you do, honey. I really hope you see this video. I hope that you browse on YouTube one night and you run across this video. Your writing is extremely sloppy. Yes, I had the unfortunate accident of reading your work, which, believe me, will never happen again. Even if you're, it's 10 years from now and you've written a book that has changed the world, I will not read it. I read 3.5 of the series of Twilight. Read Twilight, New Moon, and Eclipse, and half of Breaking Dawn. And the reason that I read these was I had a bunch of girls and stuff telling me to go read these books. And I was like, hey, I'll impress these chicks by reading this book. I will never impress another girl by reading a stupid, dumb, idiotic, self-contradicting book like that ever again. Number 1, Bella Swan is you, Stephenie Meyer. Just a way for you to bitch and moan, because that's all the character in the whole damn book does is bitch and moan. She's unhappy, she hates the weather, she hates forks, she feels all alone, she don't want to do this, she don't want to do that. Welcome to the real damn world. At least Stephen King makes characters believable, and he knows that all the people in the characters in the books, if they hate their life, they still got to deal with it, because guess what? That's the real world. You want to talk about vampires? There's a little book called Salem's Lot that you need to read. Better yet, check out Bram Stoker's Dracula. You want to start from somewhere? You've probably never even heard of that book. You want to start from somewhere, start from scratch, start from the classics, start from the people that you could never possibly dream about being or being close to on a writing perspective. Number 2, the way that you act toward your fans, toward critics, and all out in general people, you act like a spoiled brat. You're way older than me. You're in your middle of your 30s. And yet you act like somebody owes you for writing Twilight. You had a dream. You wrote this stuff down. And you didn't want to send it in because you thought it was stupid yourself. And the only way that you sent it in was your sister provoked you to. Well, I'll be honest with you. Your sister needs beat up really bad right now. Because we all could have avoided this stupid shit that you call novels. But like I said, it's almost impossible for me to believe that a character is that self-centered. She chose a boy over her mother, over her father, over her life, because she was unhappy. And the whole damn time the book is going on, deep down in Edward's idiotic psyche, he's wanting to kill her and eat her. But yet, does she go for the nice guy that turns into a werewolf? No. And you did do a pretty good job on that, Stephanie. I will hand that to you. Yes, you did make a good character of Jacob, and the character in the first book of Mike, I think his name was, that was also trying to get with Bella. But no, that wasn't good enough. No, she had to have the dead guy, the son of a bitch the freakiest son of a bitch in the school. And the guy that absolutely didn't want anything to do with her, but yet she kept coaxing and, prodding and whining and bitching. So, in my opinion, I think Edward just got tired of her bitching and was like, okay, whatever. Then the whole time they're together, he's wanting to kill her. Wow. Interesting story. Very, very interesting story. But you want to do werewolf movies, vampire and werewolf movies, you want to do, all that crap. Only things I can tell you is Salem's Lot, Dracula, Fright Night, The Lost Boys, and a few others. Interview with a Vampire. Yes. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, also known as the heartthrobs of Hollywood. But guess what? Was a hell of a lot better than your stories or movies. Kristen Stewart herself, the main character that plays Bella, hates your books. She said that she hates your books. Then you come out with a book called The Host, which I don't understand what the hell it's about. It was made into a movie, and from what I understand, it flopped, thank God. But me just saying right now, if you got it in your self-centered, low-lifed, dumbass head that you think you're a better writer than Stephen King, you're more naive than I ever expected. There is no way that you could hold a candle to Stephen King. You couldn't even hardly hold a candle to the McDonald's menu on writing. Reading about a Big Mac with extra cheese is more interesting than your stories. The first thing you did when you wrote Twilight was you based the whole damn story series on your life. The only thing that was missing was the vampire stuff. But I'm sure that you and your husband went through kind of the little squirrely, butterfly, mushy bullshit that you wrote about. That may work with a lot of teenage girls, but it's not working with the smart ones. And I'll tell you this right now, there's a great job, Stephanie, of how you made the parents divorce, Bella's parents divorce. Yet, Bella herself gets married at 18 years old. As soon as she turns 18 years old and graduates high school, she marries Edward. That night, when they're on their honeymoon, she gets pregnant. Great influence on the teenage girls out there, Stephanie. Really good. Really, really good role model. That's the most ridiculous thing anybody has ever done. Period. You don't set up bad role models for kids. Period. If you're targeting a teenage audience, you don't do that. You're stupid for doing that. And another thing, all these teenage girls are reading this slop, this trash, and the whole time that they're reading this, the self-centered little twit that Bella is always trying to change her appearance, change her ways, change her looks, and everything else to please Edward. Another great influence you got there going, Stephanie. Make all the little young teenage girls that are already going through hell in school being picked on because of their weight or the way they look or because they wear glasses or whatever else. Make them feel like shit because the guy don't like them, so maybe they should change their look. Maybe they should starve themselves to death so the guy will like them. That's, in my opinion, you're a piece of shit for doing that to these kids. Period. That's why that you have compared yourself to Stephen King, and that's why you said you're a better author than, Bram Stoker or Jack London or, Mary Shelley or any of those, is because you cannot write an adult book. You can't write an adult novel. You just can't do it. It's not in your power because you don't have the skill to do that. And you never will. And as far as the new book is concerned, if you're attempting to write a new book, my suggestion is not to, because from what I've heard, you were attempting to make a 5th Twilight book. And some of it leaked out on the internet. What did you do? You threw a bitch fit and said you wouldn't write any more of it. That's real mature. There was a guy I knew called Richard Bachman. Wrote classics like Thinner, The Long Walk, The Running Man, Rage, a few others. Well, they found out that it was Stephen King, and he was using a pseudonym. But did he cry? No. Did he whine? No. The dark half came of that. And another amazing Stephen King book and movie. But, I will never understand how the hell you got the guts to compare yourself to a master like Stephen King. Because it doesn't matter if you took writing classes and writing courses for 1,000 years, you still wouldn't be as good as he is. But like I said, the deal with you patronizing teenagers and wanting them to get married at 18 years old and have babies and making Bella basically a nymphomaniac after she's married. Like I said, very good influence on young kids reading this smut. Do I say smut? Yes, I did, because the only thing that you did was basically write a porno like 50 Shades of Grey, but only for a teenager. You left out the F words and the, bend overs and the slap my ass and all that stuff, but it's still there. You just have to have the right mind to read it. And you have to be smart to read it. You left your little innuendos in the book. And, I caught it. I'm sure a lot of other people caught it too. But you have made the number one mistake of a writer. And that is that you made everyone that read your book, 90% of the people that read your book, the small, little naive teenage girl fan base that you have are not smart enough to understand yet about the self-centered character, and you made all the people that have been reading for years hate, absolutely hate, cannot stand, not tolerate Bella's bitching and moaning all through the damn series of books. Her sexist remarks, Edward telling her that she can't go places. She's sitting there going, okay, just please don't leave. I'll do anything you want. That's basically what the hell she's doing. That's despicable to me. That's not a story. That's a fucking slave book. You don't do that. You gotta have respect for your characters. Therefore, if you wrote this book and you've based yourself, your self-centered, naive little self, as the character of Bella, you got problems. That's not the way a relationship works at all. I was in a bad relationship. I got smart. I'm much happier now. That's what you may need to have to do. You may have to go sit and think about all your life situations and stuff like that. Yes, you've made tons of money off these naive little teenage girls, but you're not making money off me. Sorry. And yes, you've had your 15 minutes of fame, but I think it's drawing to a close. And just do us all a favor. If you watch this, stop writing. It's not worth the effort. Do something else, but stay a house mom or whatever the hell you are. But anyway, guys, sorry this video took so long. It's at 22 minutes now. I didn't know that it would be that long. But once something gets on my nerves and something that I feel I need to speak on, that's what happens. I'm sorry, guys, that it took so long. Yes, this is a rant and a rave. But I just figured that I'd say stuff that needed to be said. Anyway, guys, Mortician Man 24 here. As always, keep it Stephen King and horror. Later.